We're back. It's Chat Room, another exciting episode, and we always love our interview episodes, and I'm excited to be joined with Mac, and not just any Mac, not Mac the Knife. This is Mac at the movies, Mac.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's absolute pleasure, and this is an exciting time of year to talk movies. I feel the seasonality of movies, getting Christmas films ready, but also people tend to have a little more time off. And, I'm excited to talk about all that, but I just want you to kind of introduce yourself to our audience, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I go by Mac, Mac at the Movies on YouTube. I just do reviews of movies, either new ones that I've watched or old classics on VHS or something I pulled off the shelf back here, and unboxings of movies, different things like that. Anything and everything movie related I can think of. Maybe one day I'll start talking about soundtracks and pull some of my favorite soundtracks from movies and have something to do with that. But I just always enjoyed movies. And during quarantine, I started sharing a lot that I was watching with people at work, but I don't think many of them cared. They were just like, they're making us talk about things like this outside of work to make it feel normal again.
Yeah.
And so I started a YouTube channel during all that. I was like, well, I might as well share it with 20 people who care. And then it just sort of grew from there. So, fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been exciting. And I feel that's kind of a common story for a lot of the more recent kind of, whether it's YouTube or podcasts, you have either downtime or time to really accrue a collection. Though in your case, and it's a shame that we have you in this cropped kind of vertical. I hope, of course, everybody checks out Mac's show, because you'll see it is an impressive collection behind you. And I imagine one that has taken years to accrue.
Yeah, I've grown the collection. I have some movies that I've had since I was just a kid. So, I mean, it kind of all started from there. And then once I got a job, it grew from there. And then I got a big boy job, and money just started kind of going toward movies. So I have I haven't done a recount in a while, but I'm in the thousands.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I haven't watched every single one of them yet, but hopefully before I die, I do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And what I love too, especially with your unboxings, is you're very attentive to the special features, on the releases themselves, but also, whether it's like one of the Disney bundles, you might get like something extra, be it a poster or something additional to that. And, like I can see again kind of behind you, you have like figures and all the other stuff that kind of goes with movies as well, and not just the physical media.
Oh yeah, I have like I couldn't tell you how many things. Like I have directors like Jordan Peele, Guillermo del Toro, John Waters, Kevin Smith, Spike Lee's up here, Alfred Hitchcock, and then stuff from movies. So
yeah,
just anything and everything. Couple pair of 3D glasses that I got from the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was definitely the 3D, and Avatar coming out. It's kind of making me think that. So saw that behind you, but also childhood, because we're closer ages. John's the baby, as you'll find out very fast. And I was almost going to joke and explain who almost all those directors were, except for hopefully like Peele and maybe some of the more recent ones for him.
Yeah.
But
like I think Jordan Peele's the biggest recent one, especially with his horror trilogy. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So one of the things that like I'm not really like into movies like that much, like besides just watching the movie, getting a good laugh, getting a good story or whatever. So like one thing I remember, growing up as a kid being like that's kind of stuck with me until now with movies. Like, you remember Star Wars when they had like the 5 movies, like back in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was like a case, like if you went to Toys R Us or Walmart, and I remember like my mom saying it cost like $50 or something, and it was like a case, and it had all these cool like logos and engravings in the package, and you bought all 5 movies.
Yeah.
Like, are you sad to see stuff like that kind of like fade away? Because I feel like that was the one like big deal movie thing that like I asked my personal mother for, and I don't remember them doing anything like that for like the Twilight series or like any of the other movies in the like growing up.
They do some things like that now.
Yeah.
It's fewer and far between.
Hmm.
Like you said, especially with like Star Wars, I probably have that trilogy 9 times over.
Yeah.
The original trilogy, because they came in all different box sets.
Yeah.
And I remember that was one I asked my parents for Christmas one year. They did a special edition box set.
Yeah.
And I got that and watched it 1,000 times. But over the years, anytime I saw a different one that I didn't have,
Yeah.
I bought it.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are some that still release things like that. Like on occasion, like Harry Potter will, like there'll be a special release of that where it may come in a trunk or something like that, similar to the books. I think Twilight is one of those you may get like a 4-pack. Nothing special about that. I do know the A24 film line. They have like, this is for Midsommar. It's a director's cut. Let me find out which way the camera is. But
Okay.
it's like a director's cut and like a really fancy, high quality. Everything is in reverse for me. Just a fancy, high quality box.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard to get out, but when you eventually get it out here, my God, there we go. You have even more artwork with that. And then I don't think I can share some of the artwork in here because it's graphic. Yeah, this one's not too bad, but like you have like artwork from like the movie, like throughout this that you can like look through, and then in the front you have the movie there. So I mean, you pay for it as a collector, but not a whole lot of people are doing special releases anymore.
I kind of wonder too, I've gone to Knoxville has a mall that has some of these older stores. Amazing enough, they have a Circuit City. And then I was just in Atlanta too, and saw FYEs in both of them.
Yeah.
And that's not like your common experience. So
No.
maybe it's even, obviously there's the evolution of, just streaming. So less and less is being put into physical media. But do you think it's also just that it's getting harder to find in person? So like John, the casual person, wouldn't see it unless he was looking for it anyways.
Yeah, like that you order online. So you're not going to find something like that in the store. If you're going to a store, you may luck out at a Walmart with a special edition. Like they have limited edition things, or Best Buy. I think Best Buy and Walmart still compete in limited edition steelbooks.
Yeah.
And they'll have things like that, but nothing like, it's just a different case. It's not that it has different features or anything like that. It's just a limited edition case. You may get something at Target that it's like limited edition bonus features, but in the grand scheme of things, I think a lot of big box stores are going away from physical media. I mean, Walmart, I don't even think they have, I think it was Voodoo or something like that. They don't do anymore. It's another company bought them out. So, I mean, even when it comes to digital streaming, I think inevitably it's just going to come to everything's just up for streaming. So, I mean, even the Blu-rays that you buy now, the DVD players, like the Blu-ray players that you're playing them on, upgrade every few months or so. So you'll get like an upgrade thing, and it may kill a disc that you try to watch. So maybe it sends out an upgrade that if you want to watch, I don't know, Dick Tracy, you can't watch that anymore because there was an upgrade. And I guess there was something about that movie they didn't want you to watch anymore. Like
Yeah.
something like, I know Wrong Turn 6, I think it was. They had a family's photo on the wall that they didn't get permission for. So they had to pull all those movies and re-release it with that photo edited out. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah. This is kind of this wasn't originally the way I was going to go with this because there's so much about the evolution of films right now. But I was kind of curious too if you feel then your role as, you know, there's more media in a lot of ways it's easier to get, even though it's kind of stratified between all the streaming channels that are competitive. Do you feel your role as essentially either somewhat critic, but also somewhat just movie enthusiast is kind of more important now because people are just like flooded with stuff and like, but Mac knows. I know that Mac and I kind of have similar tastes. I want to go to him and see what he's, you know, liking.
I think it definitely helps a lot, especially if, say, there's so many movies at the theater right now, or you know, everyone's budget is finite, so you only have so much to spend. So maybe if you get a recommendation from somebody, that'll help lead you to the next movie you'll see. You know, I try not to be overly critical if I do critique a movie. I think the worst I've been critically was with the Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez movie Geely, and that was a tough one. That probably got my lowest rating, and it was difficult to sit through. But I'm sure somebody out there, I'm pretty sure I said toward the end of that video, like, I'm sure this is somebody's favorite movie. So
yeah,
I don't want to, it's not my job to just dump on a movie.
Yeah.
And I've seen critics in the past dump on movies or specific directors, and that's just their opinion. So in this case, it's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So what I enjoy, you may not like, and what John may enjoy, I may not like. But in the grand scheme of things, it just comes down to opinion and maybe giving somebody a suggestion how to spend their evening. So, I mean, any time I get somebody's favorite movie, like somebody tells me what their favorite movie is, chances are I go out and look for it just to see what it's about. I may not like it, but
yeah,
at least I experienced that one.
Yeah.
Right. What genre is your favorite?
That's a tough one. It's tied between comedy and horror.
Okay.
I feel like both of those play off each other in a way. You know, not everybody is going to laugh at the same thing, and not everyone's going to jump at the same scare.
Right. Yeah.
So I definitely think they're both a juggling act, and especially when you get a good horror comedy, like maybe not something that's supposed to be a horror comedy, but it's like a scary movie with comedic undertones.
Yeah.
So, something like that. So I like how they can play off of one another. But I don't know. I think I like all genres, but those are my two favorite. My least favorite is action. So with the exception of like Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
Yeah, which
like,
I mean, definitely had some comedy too,
Yeah.
intentional or otherwise.
Yeah. See, that's actually cool that you say that, because like I've always looked at comedy and action to play off each other too, but like in a completely different perspective. Like I remember me and my friends when we were like 8th grade and were actually scared of like horror movies, like Insidious and stuff. We would always, you know, like watch Insidious, be freaked out, so we would turn on Grown Ups just to like bring some light into the room, be like, you know, that was just a scary movie, let's brush it past us, like, and we would just laugh about that and fall asleep at night. So I've always kind of used like comedy to make you happy after like scary movies.
Oh yeah. And that's something I do too. I mean, I go to sleep watching movies all the time,
Yeah.
and it's a toss of the coin if I'm going to fall asleep to something funny or to horrific screams in the background. So,
Yeah.
Right. I actually fall asleep easier to scary movies.
yeah.
Well, there's such a slow buildup usually, and it's like I fall asleep like waiting for that person to turn the corner and get scared. Like, like late at night, I'm just like it's like dun dun dun, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to fall asleep. But
Oh, man.
funny movies keep you like engaged because you like laugh and you like wake up a little bit,
Yeah.
and then it's kind of hard to calm back down because then you start laughing again. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, and this kind of goes back to the broader question too, but if you look at movies that are doing well right now in theaters, horror is actually doing pretty well. Obviously, like the Marvel films uh, are generally doing well too, but they've also kind of become a punching bag.
Yeah.
And what's kind of your thoughts on the state of movies, and have you, even as somebody who loves movies, found that you're going less, or
I do go less simply because I live further away from a theater. And so going out, I usually reserve that for, I don't know, a more special film.
Yeah.
But like in Nashville, I live fairly close to Nashville, but there's one theater there, the Belcourt, that's like an art house, like retrospective theater. And I go there a lot. I saw all 9 Star Wars movies there in one weekend.
Oh man.
Man,
That's
They'll
awesome.
have a bunch of older films throughout the week. Like I think it's like Music City Mondays, where they'll have some sort of music related film like Purple Rain or something like that. And then just throughout the week have like during Christmas, they bring back It's a Wonderful Life, or they'll throw out like Batman Returns and just have some fun with that.
Yeah.
I know there's been I wouldn't say controversy, but a lot of people talking about Marvel movies taking over. And frankly, I think a good movie is a good movie for what it is. I don't care what it is. I'm not going to crap on Marvel for putting out a new movie every 7 months or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I do think this past phase of Marvel films has been a bit lackluster at best. I think after Endgame, they lost a lot of steam, and so they have to build back up.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's any less of a movie than, say, like The Well that's coming out this month, at the end of this month, which is a huge one that a lot of people are anticipating. So I think it's just where you get your joy from. So,
Yeah.
I mean, time will tell what the best movies are, and
Sure.
we just
Do
kind of
you,
go from there.
yeah. Do you know or mind sharing what the last film was you saw in theaters?
Um, oh, what was that? I just saw it. Uh, if you hadn't asked me, it's oh, it was really good. I wanted to do a review of it. Why can't I think of the name?
I'm so behind too. I can only suggest like one that I even know of, and it's probably not that.
I know I saw The Menu, which was really good. Oh, Bones and All.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bones and All was really good. I was excited because Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did the soundtrack for it, and I'm a big Nine Inch Nails fan. Trent Reznor, well, both of them are in Nine Inch Nails now, but that kind of is what got me to go see that movie,
Yeah.
because I had no interest in it. I was just like, I'll wait for DVD. I'll go check it out at the library, which I'm a big advocate of. If anyone goes to their local library, you pay your taxes, you get all the movies you want. Especially like in big cities like Chattanooga or Nashville, stuff like that, it's almost endless what you can get, and you pay your taxes and you just go check them out.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people think of that resource anymore.
Yeah.
But that was one I was going to just check out from like the library. And I'm glad I saw it on the big screen because it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Like I highly suggest anyone go see it. It's like a dramatic thriller, but it's also it has moments that are just really gory in a sense. Not terribly gory, but it's a movie about people who eat people. So
Yeah.
you're bound
That's
to see
your
something.
threshold right there.
Yeah.
But the
Definitely not PG.
no.
Yeah.
But it was still really good. It has Timothy Chalamet was
Okay.
like the big actor in that film. So at first I thought it was just going to be like some Twilighty romance movie, but it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So
What was that movie called again?
Bones and All.
Bones and All. For some reason, I thought you were talking about Lovely Bones.
No.
I love that you went and saw the menu and then Bones and All.
Yeah.
And if you'd just seen Glass Onion in between that too in theaters, you would have had a food related, maybe not traditional food, but
yeah.
yeah. But yeah. And I'm definitely, kind of to your what started this, like talking again about film. I completely agree. Good movie is a good movie. Sometimes, obviously, whether it's marketing or whatnot, people seem to have trouble getting their movie out there.
Yeah.
But then you have like the success of A24, who's clearly doing great and bringing like a whole variety of movies. So there's still a way for people to stand out. Jordan Peele, who we mentioned, is a good example. Getting me, I'm not a big horror fan, but getting me to watch, I think 2 out of 3 of his films right now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I've liked all 3 of the movies he's put out. I've enjoyed. Us was probably my least favorite, and it's just because it just seemed so predictable from beginning to end. Like
Yeah.
I called the movie at the very beginning, for what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get the general thesis of the film from the beginning, but like you knew which direction it was going.
Sure.
But still a great movie, and I've rewatched it 4 times. Like I watched it twice this past year.
Yeah.
So like that's another thing I'm an advocate of is like rewatching movies. I couldn't tell you how many times I've been apologized by a friend for like, sorry for making you rewatch that. And I'm like, I've just watched this 3 times in this past year. I think one more time is not going to hurt me.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, I figure for you, it's hard to kind of balance your time, but yeah, I mean, you always have the movies that you love or ones you want to revisit, and some movies kind of deserve that too. Like I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah,
But
that was
the first time I was so thrown by it. I was also watching it on a plane in kind of a distracting environment, and I think I just wasn't in it. And I was like, no, I know there's a lot here, and I loved enough parts that I wanted to go back. And then the second time I was like, I'm obsessed with this film. So,
yeah, I saw that one in the theater the first time, and it was like there's a lot to unpack from that movie because it takes you everywhere. But that's like a lot of movies. Like you were talking about how you watched it on a plane. That's one thing about like me in movies is it has to be like the right time, the right place, the right feel to put in the movie. Like I'm not going to put in The Grapes of Wrath tonight because I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. So it's one of those, it kind of has to feel right for me. And with the seasons and everything like that, I also kind of follow seasons and holidays. So I've already got a bunch of not necessarily Christmas movies, but movies that kind of feel like the holidays or a part of the movie takes place in the holiday. And
Well,
So
I did want to ask you, what is your favorite Christmas film, and why is it Muppets Christmas Carol? Which is just mine, honestly. I'm just being biased, but no, for real. Um,
so
and it doesn't have to be, because I love this idea that you're going with, where it's maybe not a traditional thing too.
it's my favorite Christmas movie, like my favorite movie to watch on Christmas. It has been for the last 10 years. Not a Christmas movie, but it feels like Christmas. Like there's a lot of snow in it. It's very clean in some aspects. Like that particular director is known for filming very clean
Mm-hmm.
movies. And The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, not a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Is
You
this
may
the
have
American, or is this the?
this is the American one.
Okay. Okay.
I like, but I think it's the original one was Swedish, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the American one is the one I watch every year for Christmas, roundabouts. So like this year, I'll probably watch it on the 23rd because I know on the 24th and the 25th I'm going to be with family,
Yeah.
and that's not a movie you're going to kind of put on with your aunt in the room and some of the stuff that happens in it. It's not
Sure.
for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the movie ends on Christmas. Like one of the characters has a gift for another person in the film, and the snow's coming down, and then you have the soundtrack, the Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did for that film.
Yeah.
And I remember when that soundtrack came out, it was around Christmas time, and I was driving to Jackson, Tennessee to visit an aunt and listen to, well, part of that. It was like 3 discs of soundtrack, but listen to like half of it on the way there, and on the way back, listen to the other half. And it just kind of has a Christmassy vibe
Mm-hmm.
in a sense to me. Outside of that, it's probably something like Ernest Saves Christmas.
Yeah.
It is probably like a Christmas movie I like. That's one I watch every year. I know there's this one horror film I watch every year called P2. It's like this girl that gets kidnapped in a parking structure, like as she's trying to leave her work. It's like during Christmas, and
Yeah.
like that one's a lot of fun. I'm a sucker for Medea movies, so we have the Medea Christmas movie. I watch that one every year. Yeah, the Winnie the Pooh and Christmas 2. That's one that I used to have that and Ernest Saves Christmas on the same VHS tape
Yeah. Oh, nice.
with like commercials of Honey Bunches of Oats and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot of fun. Well, I wanted to ask for sure. So it's also the end of the year,
Mhm.
and you don't have to give me like your top 10 films, but mainly I want to know like what film, and it doesn't even have to be your favorite, but if you had one film like that, you're like, you all should see it for this year, what that might be.
like just one that I saw this year, or
Yeah, one that you saw and maybe stuck with you. Again, maybe you're just like, because sometimes like with Everything Everywhere All at Once, again, like I've ended up loving it, but I was just like, oh, that just impressed me so much even before I loved it.
I really liked Nightmare Alley. Like that one it was a Guillermo del Toro film. I mean, I'm kind of biased in that he's like my 3rd favorite director.
Yeah.
So I I knew I was going to go out and see that film. As far as like older movies, I don't think one has really stuck out to me, but that one I thought just had incredible acting in it. It's not like a horror film.
Hmm.
Like some of his other movies have a lot of like horror aspects to it, or different related like feels, vibes, but it just had that. It was a film noir type film, and it had when you watch it unfold from beginning to end, you're like, wow, it's dark.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Had you had you by chance seen the original?
No, but somewhere on this shelf it resides.
Because
I do have.
I have to say, so like I still need to see the new one, but I watched it with like one of my best friends, and she loved both.
Yeah,
But we were so thankful, if nothing else, also like Guillermo del Toro. So it's like, yeah, we're definitely gonna watch it. Um, I don't know why I'm behind, but we were so thankful, if nothing else, because we watched the original. I'm like, and this is amazing, and
yeah,
it's I mean, we watch older films, but it's like old, and I was like, oh, that's so impactful. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the chance to sit down with the new one.
yeah. That's one thing I hope to do next year is compile more of a list of movies I watched, and hopefully come the end of the year, maybe put out a video of like movies I watched the past year. I did that with like during quarantine, and it was like the top 10 movies I had watched during quarantine, like my favorite movies. I had like two dishonorable mentions, two honorable mentions, and then like each one I kind of talked about along the way.
Yeah.
But I think my number one film that year, I think that was 2020, was a movie called House. It was a Japanese film, and it's like a Japanese horror movie, but it's not like blood and guts and gore,
Hmm.
if memory serves just right. But like one man like turns into a mound of bananas. Like you see him at
As
one
you
moment
do.
in this, yeah, you see it like in one moment of this movie, and the next moment he like you see him like a few scenes later, and he's just like where he was is just a little mound of bananas.
Yeah.
So it's really weird. I had the opportunity to see that one in the theater years ago, but didn't, and I kind of wish I had. So hopefully it'll come back, and maybe at a repertory theater and get to see it. But like that one was a lot of fun.
Do you do Letterboxd? Because I obviously you have a channel now that you can showcase all that you watch through the year. But
I don't have anything like that. I share stuff as I watch it on like Instagram. Like I'll post a picture of the movie poster that I'm watching, something like that, in between like pictures of my cats.
yeah.
So, but I haven't done Letterbox. I'm not entirely sure like how that works. I've seen where like YouTubers have used it to keep track of what they watch in the month of May and
Hmm.
different things like that. Um, I did start doing that, something similar to that a while ago, but I just had a difficult time like keeping track of it, and
Yeah.
I was sharing like all the movies I watched this previous week, and I
Yeah.
was trying to do it like a quick what I thought about them, like a 5-star rating, all under a minute, and then I would just share that video. But yeah, I couldn't keep track of it. I would go off and do something, and then I would come back and be like, "Oh, I forgot to write those down," or "I forgot
Yeah.
these movies," and next
Yeah.
thing I know, I'm behind. So
Well, and for me, like it's probably easy because I don't watch nearly as many movies. Probably more catching up on TV shows. But also, I'm just if there's a way to categorize it or make it into a database or a
yeah,
spreadsheet, I kind of get as much joy off of that, and that's what Letterbox feels like to me. But for you, yeah, it'd probably be
like I was handwriting everything, and then
yeah,
I would take breaks. Like I wouldn't do a review for like a month because I'm catching up. Like I had started rewatching Breaking Bad, and then I get caught in this like TV show wormhole, and then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I probably watch a movie now.
yeah,
So
So being a movie guy, I'm gonna call you the movie guy now. That's your nickname from me. Um, you like action and comedy.
or no, horror and comedy. Action
Or
was my
oh,
least favorite.
gotcha. Okay, so you probably don't like these movies. Maybe Rush Hour series. Do you like those series?
It's been a while since I've watched those. I do remember when the first one came out. I rented it from I think it was Showtime Video on
Yeah.
VHS, And I asked my dad if I could rent it, and I was just I guess a naive kid. Like after watching it, I was like, "Dad, this movie was so great. It had all this cussing in it and everything like that." And he was like, "What?" It's like if I knew it was like that bad, I wouldn't have let you rent it. But
Right.
yeah, the times I have seen the Rush Hour movies, I did enjoy them. I think I have them
Yeah.
in my giant book of movies because not everything's on a shelf in a case. Like I have a few cases and like one like giant book of just DVDs loose in there.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So have you heard the rumors about the fourth one being made?
I do know that there was talk about it. Chris Tucker had done an interview where he was like walking around China, I guess, with Jackie Chan, and he had asked him about that, and he was just like, "If you want to do it, I'll do it." So, I mean,
Yeah.
if there's a fourth one, I'd definitely like to see it, especially with everything coming out now, like people coming back to reprise roles from like movies and different series is from years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that would be a fun little callback to those characters.
Oh yeah. I think from my perspective, it has been confirmed. But I mean, there's not really like the most reliable sources that have said that.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing it like everywhere, like that it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, I've just heard it in like little interviews with like Chris Tucker, and
Yeah.
he'll mention it, he'll bring it up, but I mean, that only goes so far as a studio or whoever's shelling out the money for that movie.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Well, yeah. One day you think you're going to be Superman again,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you're not. Sorry, Henry Cavill.
I like him. He was the one in Superman Returns, right?
um,
I'm terrible with
I'm
actors' names.
see, and I'm terrible with titles, but I'm good. So Brandon Ruth was the one in like the late '90s, early 2000s, but Henry Cavill has done the last 3 or so.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of with the newer DC movies.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I was thinking of it was Superman Returns came out in 2006 or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was supposed to be like a sequel to the original Christopher Reeve Superman,
Yeah.
and like he had disappeared, and Lois Lane had a kid, but whose kid is it? And Superman comes back, and there was talk at one point in time, because I'm a huge fan of Kevin Smith. Like I watch all his stuff, and he talks about how at one point in time, Nicolas Cage was going to play Superman. Like he was going to have
That'd
like
be fun.
long hair and everything like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine Nicolas Cage as Superman, but
no. But the man's got range, so
yeah.
he's played himself now.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, like almost twice, depending on what you think of adaptation. So, yeah, but
I saw a clip from that movie actually, and he had asked the guy that he got invited to his like island or whatever it was. He's just like, what's your favorite movie? And he's just like Paddington 2. And he's just like, quit messing with me. Seriously, what's your favorite movie? And he's just like, that movie has made me feel more like a man and is open to my emotions or whatever he did. And then the next scene is Nicolas Cage crying, and they just finished watching Paddington 2. And he's like, I told you.
hey, Paddington 2, until one jerk critic, had the best ratings on Rotten Tomatoes out of like all movies. So, I get it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm not opposed to watching it. I'll watch anything.
Yeah. That's a good policy in your role for sure.
Because you never know, like I'm really big into like just the arts in general. So the same rule applies to music. Like I'm not gonna turn away or turn my nose up to any music whatsoever, because you never know what you may find in one song that you're not gonna find in this genre. So with movies, I think it's sort of the same thing. Like I'm not gonna find everything I want in comedy. So you kind of branch out into other areas and drama, make
Yeah.
yourself cry one evening, watch a scary movie. Now you're afraid to go to bed that night, just little bitty things.
Yeah. What I feel definitely, and I think it's people get older. So as a film viewer, you see more movies that way. But also somebody again in your position, you watch so many that what I see often is critics really love to be surprised. So
Yeah.
oftentimes they'll single that out or something different in a movie. So even if I don't personally like it, they will champion the fact that it's doing something different,
Yeah.
deconstructing something, you know.
Like one of my favorite directors, David Lynch, he's known for having movies that just you get to the end of and you're like, what was that? What did I just spend 2 hours watching?
Accurate.
And I love his movies. Like you have some of his films that just they're flat out good movies like Elephant Man or The Straight Story, and they just make sense. But then you have like Eraserhead or Lost Highway that leaves you going, what? I think I grasped the concept, and then you rewatch it and you're like, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I got those thoughts at in the first place. And then like, I don't know, something about movies where I like to like revisit and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like I just rewatched Lost Highway with my friend Christy the other day. She had gotten a 4K release of it, and her and her husband had this like whatever that TV is, like the QLED, where like it has like perfect blacks and like colors pop on them and everything like that. They had one of those TVs, and it looked beautiful on that TV. And between that and just like watching it, and then like on occasion we would like pause it and go back because we've seen the movie 1,000 times each,
Yeah.
and we would stop and talk about it, and then afterward we'd get into the special features and all the different interviews about the making of the film and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just get the conversation rolling from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't feel like you can get that from every movie, but like on occasion you get directors like that that just pull random things out of their butt that just make you ask why.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's why that's why I enjoy your channel. That's why I enjoy listening to so many, because you all grapple with those questions,
yeah,
and you're like my smart friends from a distance, and I'm like, maybe they can figure this out, because yeah, like I just watched Mulholland Drive
yeah,
for the first time this year, and that was definitely one of those where at the end I was like, what? And I was watching with a friend who'd seen it a few times,
yeah.
and they had a very precise idea of what they thought that movie was, and mine was so contrary. But like you said, that's what can happen with his movies. And
Yeah,
it's
I'm
just
not even gonna try with Inland Empire. That one, if you've seen that one yet,
mm.
I'm not even gonna try and guess what that is. There's like one scene where there's a living room full of women that just have this like breakdown, like choreographed dance to that song Locomotion,
Hmm.
and Laura Dern is just sitting there watching all this happen, and then everyone disappears, and you don't know what's going on. Like, is everything going on in her head? Are
Yeah,
these people real? What's going on?
yeah,
So
yeah. That's trippy.
it's yeah, it makes sense because there's like conversation beforehand, and then afterward they're just gone, and she's just kind of sitting in the room in her own thoughts, and you just kind of go on from there.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That's crazy.
so I'm gonna have to stop and ask a question to the both of y'all.
Yeah.
It's a question I do like to ask people every now and again. But do either one of you two remember the first movie that you watched on the big screen in the theater as a kid?
Hmm. If you think of it faster, John, you can go. I have guesses, but I don't have a precise answer.
Um,
Actually,
it was definitely a kids movie.
makes
It was
sense.
it was either one of the Toy Stories or Polar Express. Wait, hold up, no. Polar Express was my first 3D movie.
Okay.
It was either like Finding Nemo or Toy Story, one of those. I was born in 1998, so I don't really have like that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably like one of the Toy Stories or Finding Nemo, like, you know, the original one, something like that. As far as I can remember, I'm sure I sat in my mom's lap and just don't remember that one. But
Yeah.
as far as like being
Mhm.
5 or something, like probably Polar Express or Elf, that might have been it too. I don't know, but somewhere around that 2000 area.
Yeah. I think for me the hard part is I can't remember the first movie I watched and then stayed through because
Yeah.
I'm notoriously skittish now. So like, I don't watch a lot of horror and stuff. And I watched Roger Rabbit up until the point where they took the shoe
Oh
and they put
God.
it in the ass.
That's the worst part. Like,
Spoiler alert.
even today when I watch that, I'm like, oh, poor thing.
Yeah. And I cried and we left the theater.
Yeah.
And that is my memory of that. So yeah, I really, because I can't remember the next movie I would have seen in person. We had a lot of VHSs. My parents were early adopters of VHS
Yeah.
and eventually DVD technology. And I think after that incident, they were a little more skittish about spending money if I wasn't going to handle it.
Yeah.
So it was probably a good while after until I saw one completely.
The first movie I watched in the theater was The Land Before Time.
Oh, great one.
Has the saddest scene I feel in any movie when with Littlefoot's mom, like after the T-Rex battle. And I saw that on the big screen. Like that, it's that moment that's burned in the back of my head
Mm-hmm.
that I remember that. And like any time, like if I need to like force myself to cry, not that is a thing I have to do, but like, you know, anytime I like think of that movie and like really get to thinking about that scene, man, it's
Yeah.
just sad. It's almost
Yeah.
like instant tears.
Oh yeah.
And they put that in a kids movie.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was heavy. And I wonder, so I just checked the year and that was 88 and that's the same year as Roger
Yeah.
Rabbit. So I'm like maybe I saw that first. I mean, basically I was, appreciate you coming on again. We definitely love to talk to you in the future.
Oh yeah.
And we always want to give people a chance to, and we'll share links where we can, but tell them where they can find you and anything exciting.
Oh yeah. Nothing too exciting. I'm on YouTube. Just search Mac at the Movies, and I'm one of the things that pop up. But yeah, if you don't already have it, I can share a link with you, and you can put it out there. But yeah, thank you for having me on here, and I'll keep better notes for next year. So if you ask me to do this again next year, I can tell you what my favorite movie was of the year. Quicker.
Yeah,
So
we'll definitely have you back, man.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
But well, if you don't have anything for me, again, thank you, and until next time.
Anytime, man.